Well, good morning. In the Buddhist languaging, there's a term that you may have heard called skillful means. Skillful means refers to any technique or method or process that we use to support our awakening. So skillful means can be sitting a certain way, having a particular time and place that you sit, having a particular teacher or a book or whatever it is. The Buddha would emphasize the importance of using skillful means as a support for the practice, for our awakening. But he would also emphasize the importance of not becoming too attached to or enamored with the skillful means, whatever it is. The metaphor of crossing the river on a raft he often used, and would say once you cross the river, you get to the other side, you don't want to put the raft on your back and carry it with you as you walk along. You leave the raft at the shore and go on because it served its purpose. So whatever skillful means, technique, even the teaching itself is not sacred. It is a vehicle, a means to an end, if you will. Of course, the end is realizing what's always been here. That's the great paradox. The omega is the alpha. The end is the beginning. So I'd like to offer you a particular skillful means that I found helpful in my practice. It's in the form of an acronym. Some of you may be familiar with it. It's the acronym R.A.I.N, R-A.I.N. It's one that I learned about many years ago. And each teacher has a slightly different spin on how to use it or what it means. But basically, it's 4 different aspects of our practice, R, A, I, and N. And it's a way of reminding ourselves of the essential elements of the Dharma practice. So beginning with the R, letter R, we can let R stand for recognize. So when we sit, one of the first things we do is we recognize what it is that we are experiencing. And recognition is awareness, of course. And it's also knowing what it is that we are aware of. We recognize, we recognize. We see something and we're aware that we see it. If you see someone you know, you not only are aware of seeing that person, but you are aware of recognizing or recognizing, remembering that person. So what is it we recognize? What is it we look for? Well, basically, we recognize our moment-by-moment experience through the sense gates. The sense gates simply being the 5 senses: seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching, along with thinking. That's the 6th sense gate in the Buddhist tradition. So being aware of thought, being aware of sensations in the body, feelings, being aware of seeing and hearing, and taste and smell if appropriate. Most of the time with our eyes closed, it's usually hearing, feeling, and thinking are the 3 predominant things that show up for most of us. So just noticing, recognizing. When I'm hearing, I know that I'm hearing. When I'm sensing the body, I know that I'm sensing the body. When I'm breathing in, I know that I'm breathing in. When I am thinking, I know that I am thinking. So it's recognizing what is taking place. Being aware and recognizing. Sometimes it can be helpful, this is another skillful means, it can be helpful to maybe gently name what it is you recognize. Seeing, hearing, sensing, breathing in, breathing out. That may be helpful or it may not. Again, that's a skillful means perhaps, and if it is, use it. If it isn't, you can let it go. So recognize. Recognizing is not interpreting. See, most of the time we recognize and then the mind kicks in. It's like hitting a button and this computer program kicks in. Oh yeah, I recognize that person. I know all about him or her, and away we go. We recite our history and our judgments and our memories and whatever it might be, you see. Or we feel a sensation in the body, and then we start a story about what that sensation means. Or a thought in the mind, and then one thought leads to another thought, and so on and so forth. You know how that goes. You know, we hear a dog bark. Makes us recognize hearing. Dog barking. You know, just like Rover. He was such a wonderful dog. My very favorite dog. Too bad he died. Maybe I should get another dog. I miss him. And away we go, okay? So that's not what we want to do, or we want to recognize that if that's what we do, and just come back to the breath or whatever we're focused on. So knowing what it is that's taking place, recognizing what's taking place, not getting lost in any of it, not creating stories about that. Recognizing what leads to freedom and what leads to suffering. Very important. I had one Zen teacher look me in the eye and he says, you know, Robert, he says, this is so incredibly simple. All you need to do is pay attention and recognize what leads to suffering and what leads to freedom. And if we pay attention, we can see very readily what leads to suffering and what leads to freedom. Most of the time, we don't recognize what's taking place. We have our prejudices and our preconceived ideas of what suffering is about and what freedom is about and what happiness is about, et cetera, et cetera. So paying attention, recognizing. R stands for recognizing. A stands for allow, or some people use the term accept. I like the word allow a little bit better. Accept sounds like something I'm doing. I have to accept this. Oh, I don't want to accept it. Da, da, da. Okay? But allowing is just giving it permission to be there. It means I'm not resisting it. If I'm feeling something and I don't like what I'm feeling, I can allow the feeling to be there, and I can allow the fact that I don't like the feeling that's there, or whatever it might be. So just letting what is be. Letting it be. Not adding anything to it. Not trying to get more or get less. Just allowing what's here to be here. A lot of times the term letting go is used. I hear students say, I'm trying to let go of this and that. Well, there's a problem, because trying doesn't work trying is leading to frustration and suffering. And letting go can be something of a doing, you know. Letting go is trying to push away or get something out of here. You know, I want to let go of this. I want to get it out of the way here. It's bothering me. As opposed to simply letting it be. So it's not grasping, it's not throwing it away, it's simply holding it. Holding it in the open hand, letting it come, letting it go as it will. Allowing, recognizing, and allowing. And the I stands for inquire. Some teachers use the term investigate, and that's okay too, but investigate to me tends to get the mind going, the analytical mind, like Sherlock Holmes, you know, the investigator. But we're not investigating in that sense. We're simply inquiring, what is this? You know, I'm breathing in. Well, what is the breath? Well, the breath is the breath. That's what the mind says, you know. But have we ever really known the breath? Have we really inquired deeply into what breathing is? Or what pain is? You know, we say, oh, it hurts. I want to get rid of it. Well, what is pain? What is pleasure? You know, what is hearing? This is, again, not trying to get to an answer, but living in a question. Living in a state of curiosity. I just returned from a 7-day Zen retreat where we spent a week focusing on the inquiry, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Well, I didn't come back with an answer because there is no answer. It's not a question, it's an inquiry. You see. It's a process of opening. It's a process of settling into. It's a process of experiencing. So we know the breath not in language or concepts, but we know the breath in a very intimate way. It's like someone you really love dearly, someone you know intimately. Well, you can't explain who that person is. You can't explain why you love them. They are who they are, and you know who they are. And you know that you love them. And you know that that love is open-ended. It's not a stopping place. So, what is this? What is this experience? Just a gentle curiosity. Not a striving, not a grabbing, not a craving. Or if there is craving, what do you do with that? You inquire, what is craving? What does craving feel like? What is this? What is this? And then the N stands for non-identification. And this springs from a primary teaching of the Buddha, when he would say time and again, the essence of the teaching is this: cling to nothing as the self. Cling to nothing as the self. So we don't make anything personal. Even our meditation. Oftentimes we think of ourselves as meditating. I, Robert, am trying to meditate. I am trying to follow the breath. So there's a task I've set before me. And I'm trying to accomplish this task. And the harder I try to accomplish this task, you know what happens. The more frustrated I'm going to get. So efforting and trying is not the way. It's simply recognizing. I find it helpful when I go out into nature, in the woods or at the sea or wherever. I just noticed that, they're doing great without me. These trees here and these birds and this river, it doesn't need me. It actually doesn't need human. In fact, it does much better without us, quite honestly. The sun rises and the sun sets. The grass grows. The rain comes. I'm not making it happen. I don't know who is making it happen. I don't think anybody is, you see. It's happening. But we, as human beings, become very possessive of our experiences. This is my experience. This is happening to me. Why is this happening to me? Either why did you do this to me? Or then we learn to take responsibility and then we say, why am I doing it to myself? Which is really the same thing. So there's still an I in there that's doing something. There's a story from the Sufi tradition. You probably heard me talk about one of my favorite characters, Nasruddin. Nasruddin is the wise fool. He's crazy and he's incredibly wise. And in this particular story, Nasruddin and his wife live in a tenement building up on the third or fourth floor way. They're up quite a ways. And like most tenement buildings, they have a sort of a little balcony, and the ladies would hang clothes out on the line to dry. And so one time as Nasruddin was away, his wife had clothes out on the clothesline. And a very strong wind came along and broke the clothesline and blew all the clothes down. They fell down 3 stories, landed on the street below all over the place. And so when Nasruddin came home, he saw that his clothes were laying all over the place. He looked up and he saw the clothesline had been broken. And he fell down on his knees and he said, "Oh, I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful. Praise Allah. Praise God. I am so grateful." And he started to weep with gratitude. Well, his neighbors were curious, of course, and they came, "Nasruddin, Mullah, what's going on? Why are you feeling so grateful? Why are you praising Allah?" And he says, "Oh, I am so grateful that when these clothes fell 3 stories to the street, that I wasn't wearing them at the time." So the clothes will fall, and we have a choice as to whether we want to wear them or not. Pleasure happens, pain happens, joy happens, sorrow happens, the breath happens, the sun rises, the birds sing. Do I want to wear that? Do I want to make that part of me? Or I do, maybe I just want to get on my knees and feel grateful. I don't have to wear those clothes when they fall to the ground. I don't have to be on that train that got in a wreck. Same. So non-identification is not pushing anything away. It's not trying to be above it all. It's living our life fully, but not trying to own any of it. Don't have to wear the experience. R.A.I.N. I love that acronym, R.A.I.N., and for another reason, you know, it's like when I think of rain, somebody says it's going to rain tomorrow, you know, I might say, oh, who's making it rain? Well, nobody's making it rain. Oh, okay. Oh, what's raining? Nothing's raining. You said it's raining. Who's the it that's raining? Where's the it at? There is no it. Rain just is rain, right? Rain just happens. See, the ancients used to believe that there was a big ocean in the sky, which makes sense, right? Because when they see water coming out of the sky, they reasoned it can't be coming from nowhere, right? It's got to be, I mean, water has to come from somewhere, so there must be a big lake or an ocean up there. And the idea that it comes out of nowhere is preposterous, of course. Maybe not. So where do thoughts come from? Where do I come from? Where does anything come from? See, we don't need to make it happen. Let it rain. Enjoy it. God bless.